Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. Got a latte in my Romantasy reader mug from the bookish box. Because I'm fancy, I guess. So today's video is going to be a book haul, mostly because until I've hauled a book, I don't put it on my shelves. And there's a stack here that I just really want to organize because I need to be doing a lot of shelf reorganization, and I also need to be doing some unhauls, and I'm like out of space. So if I haul this and I look through my shelves, I'll be more likely to take stuff off of my shelves, unhaul stuff, put stuff other places. So that's why we're doing it today, because I want to be able to move them. This probably won't go up for a while, but I don't care because I just need to move these dang books. And I don't know what to do with my spacing issues because I have 4 bookshelves and they're not like the Billy bookshelves. I really dislike the Billy bookshelves because there's only 2 colors or 3 colors, and I wanted more gray and I wanted them to look different, but I understand why people get them. They hold a lot of books and they are very customizable, but I really have been trying to avoid them. So I'm running out of space. I don't really know what to do about it. We're thinking about getting smaller bookshelves that sort of match these and going in between them or like on the other side. It's a problem. Regardless, I need to figure out some stuff with my shelves, and I need to figure out where these books are gonna go, so I need to haul them to do that. There'll probably be an unhaul video soon as well, because I'm just feeling a little bit overwhelmed with the spacing issues, and also trying to be a lot more cutthroat about, you've had this book for how many years and you haven't touched it, maybe you can let it go because you bought it for $4. It's really hard for me to let books go because I have like FOMO when it comes to books. Like, I'm afraid that it's gonna be a book I'm gonna love and then I'm gonna get rid of it and I'm never gonna know. And I just need to get over it because there's a lot of books in the world. Okay, with that being said, let's just do this haul. This one's gonna be really quick. I'm not gonna go into it very in depth because I just need to get this done. And I wasn't even planning on filming today. So I threw my hair up in this bun thing, put some makeup on, and got a latte. Because I just don't have time right now. I don't have time right now. First thing I'll throw up here, I already talked about it in my Christmas haul, but my copy of More Again by Mary E. Pearson did come in. Very pretty. I don't know why I showed you the pages, their edges, there's nothing on there. Little snaky snake on the cover, and there's a lot of pretty illustrations in it. So I have this. I don't even know where to go. Oh, okay. A lot of these are not even books that I've necessarily acquired. Some of them are obviously just pre-orders of books or books that I found secondhand. A lot of them are pre-orders of special editions from like Fairy Loot, etc. that I've received. I'm gonna stop talking, let's go. The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. This is the Fairy Loot edition with the black and red foiling with the blood dripping edges. I was just kind of curious about this, and I thought if I was gonna pick it up, then I would get the fancy version. So I have that. It's about vampires, and that's essentially all I know about it. And hopefully it's a Holly Black one that I like. Next is the Illumicrate edition of The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. Again, I got this in my book-only Illumicrate subscription. The flowers have like skulls on them, which is pretty cool. The edges are beautiful. Pretty end papers. Really pretty foiling. It's signed. And the reversible dust jacket is actually freaking beautiful. This has deaf representation. I believe one of the main characters is deaf. It's also dark academia, so they're at this university. There's 2 unlikely people. They're kind of drawn to each other for unknown reasons. And they're working on like solving a murder and uncovering the university's secrets. There you go. I'm trying to like fly through this. Got another copy of The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber because Inky Fox Books did these. They're dragons! So I had to get a copy of it. And the top and bottom are like this really pretty raspberry red color, and I just had to get it because it had dragon stencils on them, and it was a flower cover. I also got my Fairy Loot edition of Kingdom of the Feared in by Carrie Maniscalco, finally, with the beautiful purple scheme and the stenciled edges that are flowers. Naked hardcover is really pretty. I believe this is a printed signature because I don't think she signed any books. And the inside of the dust jacket. You know all about Kingdom of the Wicked, I'm sure, at this point, so you don't need to know about Kingdom of the Feared. But happy to have the completed collection. Next, we have my Fairy Loot edition of Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. Beautiful edges, top and bottom. I really like the blue. That was my biggest draw to this. The foiling is stunning. End papers are immaculate. The art style is just really pretty, and it's signed. I don't really know much about this. I know it's set in the same world as These Violent Delights, but it's following the lady codenamed Fortune, and it says Assassin, Immortal, Spy. Told you we're going quick. I also got my edition of The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lamb. This is the Fairy Loot edition to match my 6 Crimson Cranes. I love the colors and everything with this. It's so beautiful. Inside of the dust jacket, stunning. Foiling is pretty. It has a dragon on it. And it's signed. Fairy Loot edition of Poster Girl by Veronica Roth. My edition of These Twisted Bonds, the Fairy Loot edition by Lexi Ryan, finally came. I love the blue. It is so beautiful. It's got blue on blue with the foiling, very pretty. Reversible dust jacket, and is signed by the author. Fairy Loot edition of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I've talked about this already. Fairy Loot edition of One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Very happy I had this. We've already talked about it. Fairy Loot edition of The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix. Already talked about this one as well. And we've talked about the Fairy Loot edition of A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Those edges though. So many of these are Fairy Loots. Okay. Speaking of Fairy Loots, I also got in The Blood Trader by Lynette Noni. The Fairy Loot edition, of course. I love the blue again. Reversible dust jacket. Beautiful blue foiling. And it's signed by the author. Also very happy to have this because I really, really liked this trilogy. Just filmed an unboxing for this, so you'll see it before you'll see that video before you see this. But I also have the Fairy Loot edition of Cruel Illusions by Margie Fuston. Edges are fantastic. We won't even go into that. We've already talked about it in that video. Also got my Fairy Loot edition of The Ballad of Never After. This periwinkle bluey color is absolutely fantastic. I love it so much. Not every love story is meant to be. The edges are super pretty. I wish they'd done something besides a mushroom, but it's still really pretty. Inside of the dust jacket is magical, fairy tale, beautiful. I love the hardcover, so she's been doing these like hardcovers that all are books in the story, which is awesome. And this one is The Inglorious History of House Slaughterwood. Love it. Same on the spine. And the back has this axe. It's super pretty. The end papers on this, just prepare yourselves. I want that like all over my walls. It's just beautiful. And then this part. And it's signed by Stephanie Garber, of course. And my Stephanie Garber shelves are getting out of hand. I can barely fit this many books on there, as you can see right here. I've had to already take off my original editions of Ballad and Once Upon a Broken Heart, and most of my special editions of Caraval, besides these guys, are on another shelf. It's a moment. I might have to make another like small shelf of just my Stephanie Garber stuff. But this is beautiful. Okay, I did an unboxing of this as well, but this is the Bookish Box edition of Lightlark by Alex Astor, and it is a really pretty edition. I want to say I already talked about these, but we'll just go through it right now. So I did get the Waterstones edition of the Atlas Paradox with these edges and this cover and the really pretty end papers. And it's signed. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do because at the moment I have the Fairy Loot edition, the Illumicrate edition, and the Waterstones edition. So I don't need that many of them, so I'm gonna figure out which of these has to go, but I'm still gonna haul it for now. And I have the Atlas Paradox Illumicrate edition by Olivia Blake as well. The Illumicrate editions are just so pretty. It's got that beautiful like holographic foiling, and the edges are beautiful with that digital like color. The bottom and top are blue. This is the holographic thing on the cover. Spine. End pages are super creepy, but cool. I've had these for a while and just haven't done a book haul. Now let's go through some of my Goldsboro books that I got. The first one is The Immortal Thief by Taryn Hunt. Edges are super pretty. Not gonna lie. It also has a ribbon bookmark and a little like spacey thing on the cover. It's of course numbered and signed. And this sounds kind of scary. There's basically an abandoned ship. It was caught in some sort of explosion type situation. Everyone on board is dead. There may be secrets and monsters on board, and a prisoner is sent to like go investigate, I think for his freedom, and so he decides to do so. And I'm sure horrible things happen. There you go. Next one is Silver Under Nightfall by Ren Chapeko. This is the same author as The Bone Witch, I believe, which I have not read. I like the spine a lot with the sword. The back. Edges. That spine is signed and numbered. And I know this is a vampire book, and that's basically all I know about it. Essentially, the main character comes from a line of like vampire hunters. They're rogue vampire hunters. There's a new breed of vampires that's happening, and it's kind of labeled the rot. This disease is labeled the rot. He ends up teaming up with vampires that are actually nice to try to figure out what's going on, and things happen. And I got my Fake Rate edition of A Duel with the Vampire Lord by Elise Kova. I have the rest of the Fake Rate Married to Magic series, so I had to get this one as well. The edges are black. This is the inside of the dust jacket. This is the beautiful, beautiful Fake Rate Naked hardcover. I really like what they've done with these. They make them just really pretty. It's signed by the author. And essentially, if you don't know what these books are, each one is their own standalone story. In the same world of Midscape, there is a lot of different creatures, obviously, in the story. The first one is an elf, the second one is fae, and this one is a vampire. And the fourth that is coming out this year, I think, is a siren. They're just kind of enemies to lovers type things. There you go. Next, we have a book series that I've actually been wanting to read for a really long time. So when this special edition was announced, I jumped on it and recently just got them. And that is The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chotsky. These are the Fairyloot editions. They're very beautiful. The edges all have like a really delicate pattern on them, and it actually makes a picture as you go, which is super cool. So this is the first one, Gilded Wolves. No one believes in them, but soon no one will forget them. It comes with a signed book plate, and I'll just kind of show you the really pretty foiling on them. That's the first one. And then we have the Silvered Serpents. They are each other's fiercest love, greatest danger, and only hope. Really pretty blue. I like how like light but beautiful they are. Oh, and I'll show you this one as well. And the Bronze Beasts. In love they breathed, in destiny they believed. In the end will divinity be their demise. Truth be told, I don't know a lot about this series, but I heard if you like Six of Crows, you will like it. It's a different type of premise, but basically it's still a heist story, and then it goes from there. Now, the first one, this one is set in Paris. So it just has always sounded like something I would really enjoy, and I want to give it a shot. I've heard great things about this author, and I don't think I've read anything from her. So I was very happy to have this. I kind of stacked these up for you to show you that the pictures, it makes a picture with the edges, which is super pretty. Okay, we got a couple more special editions before we just get into the regular books. So the next one is going to be the Bookish Box editions of the Zodiac Academy by Carolyn Peckham and Susan Valenti. So these I got because it just sounded like they were so pretty. The edges, the spines, everything about it. I've of course heard people rave about this series and was curious about it, so I just decided to go ahead and get the Bookish Box editions and just go for it. If I hate them later on, maybe I'll figure my life out, but I jumped in, got the first 4. I will get the next set that comes out from Bookish Box, and if I read them and hate them in the meantime, I'll figure out how to sell them or something. But so we have the first one. I think they're very beautiful, so I will be very upset if I don't like them. So you can see it here without the glare. It's supposed to look like a forest of trees at night, and then a tiny little constellation at the top. The bottom and top are like this yellow black ombre situation. The spine is beautiful. It says the awakening has a constellation and has a creature down here. And on the back it says, welcome to your awakening. It's time for the stars to rouse your inner power. I probably won't read these because it's probably going to be spoilery. But what I like about this is that the dust jacket is actually kind of like a cutout situation. So you can see a little bit of the hardcover underneath, but the reverse one is also like this, and I think that's really pretty and simple. And then they all have a different like zodiac symbol. The spine is beautiful, and the back. I'm not going to get into the end papers and everything of this, but the first one is signed. I don't remember if they're all signed, but the first one absolutely is. I told you I'm trying to get through this like real quick, so gotta go. And then we have book 2, Ruthless Fae, which looks like this. Has a dragon on the top. Love it. Back and the pages. Inside of the dust jacket and the naked hardcover. They're just so pretty. I really hope I don't hate them. I'm so worried I'm gonna hate them. All right, and then we have book 3, The Reckoning, which looks like this. It has a 3-headed dog here. Oh. Inside of the dust jacket. And the hardcover itself. The hardcovers are just so pretty. And the spines all do something else, which is just really, really beautiful. These are so, I can't keep saying this, but they're just really beautiful editions. They did a really good job, I think. Last but not least, for this set, we have Shadow Princess. Little Pegasus atop. Have any of you read this series? Because I would like to know what you think. I know most people are obsessed. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I know most people are obsessed with this series, and I'm just afraid I will hate it. Even though I think I could like it. And I've also heard people say that you have to get through the first book to get good. Let me know if that's true. Let me know all of your thoughts about Zodiac Academy. I would love to know. Okay, one more set of special editions. I missed out on these, had some regrets, and ended up getting them on a Black Friday sale. So I got the Bookish Box Air Awakens series by Elise Kova. I bought the paperbacks secondhand and then got these, which I was so excited about. So I've obviously been wanting to read this series, or I wouldn't have gotten the paperbacks. So when I saw that they were on sale for Black Friday, I snapped them up. So the spines do this, which you know how I feel about books where the spine creates an image. Just look. Magical. All right, so the first one we have is Air Awakens. I'm gonna try to go through this a little bit quicker. So it's got like the thing on the dust jacket. We're not gonna look at the dust jackets. We'll just look at the naked hardcovers. Look! Really pretty. Fire Falling. Just super pretty, right? In the back. Earth's End. This one's really cool, I think. I also like that they're all a different color. Water's Wrath. Crystal Crowned. The colors on this one are very pretty. And this one's purple. Okay, that was the last of the special editions, sort of. So now let's just go. Another book I got is The Reluctant Queen by Sarah Beth Durst. I got this secondhand because it is book 2 in the Queens of Renthia series, and I had book 1 and book 3. So I just thought, okay, well, I guess I'll just get book 2 now. Essentially, a forest is trying to kill people, and the queen's the only one that can stop it. And then we have The Witch Hunt by Sasha Payton Smith. This is book 2 from The Witch Haven, and I haven't read that one yet. Okay. And I haven't read that one yet, but this is the sequel. And from what I know about The Witch Haven, basically she doesn't know that she's a witch until she kind of blacks out and ends up killing somebody, and she's taken to this like juvenile reformation center type thing, but really it is a school for witches. And this is book 2. And look at the pretty hardcover. Next we have another pre-order that I got, which is Ashes of Man by Christopher Rocchio. This is book 5 in the Sun Eater series. I'm going to continue to collect this series regardless that I've only read the first one because I really, really liked it. And the 5th one came out. And there's this small bookstore where he lives called like Quail Ridge Books or something, and he would sign your books. So he signed this one and dated it, which is kind of cool. So I got the signed edition of Ashes of Man. Not much I can say about this, but Empire of Silence is a space opera where the main character goes dark and commits mass genocide. And it's kind of saying like if Anakin turning Darth Vader was the right choice. So I got book 5 that just came out in December. The next one I got was one that once I figured out that these existed, I wanted all of them. But it's really hard to buy them secondhand because they're really expensive, but I found this one for a great price and it was brand new. And that is the Star Wars trilogy. This is the Barnes & Noble Collector's Edition, and this one has R2-D2 on the front, silver edges, the Millennium Falcon, the Death Star, and some TIE fighters on the back. And the spine as a Stormtrooper, Vader, and Anakin's lightsaber. It's just so cool. So cool. So I got this as well to go with my other collectible Star Wars editions. Next we have The Belle of Belgrave Square by Mimi Matthews. This is a Regency romance series. It's called The Bells of London. I have the first one, The Siren of Essex, but from what I know about these are similarly feministic Regency romances, but they involve horses. I thought that was a little bit different and fun. So this is book 2, and I went ahead and grabbed it secondhand while I had the chance. And I know the main character in this has crippling social anxiety, and she ends up meeting a blunt military captain. Then we have Princess of Souls by Alexandra Christo. This came in Fairy Loot, so I don't really need to talk about this, but it's a beautiful edition. And then I got another pre-order in that is Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is the paperback edition because I get the paperbacks because of these spines, and I love it. So this is book 2 in the Last Hour series. I haven't read book 1, but I'm planning on doing that this year and possibly reading the whole series this year and getting back into the Shadowhunter universe. All I know is that this is following the children of the characters that are in the Infernal Devices. And then, if you saw anything about this, you know I got one, and that is the anniversary edition, the 5th anniversary edition, I believe, of Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is just a UK edition paperback, but they did a special edition that was very limited and is only doing 1 print run in this really metallic, beautiful gold. And because I'm a Caraval collector, I had to pick this up. Now we have a bunch of indie books for me to go through. First one is Heart of the Marked by Lyra Asher. Look at this, look at that cover. I believe this is book 1 of the Moons of the Divine. And on the front it says, you cannot know the depth of your light without knowing the depth of your darkness. Look at this, it's got like really pretty illustrations in it. And on the back this says, a realm divided by blood built atop the bones of humans enslaved by the Fae. A human pulled from the wreckage of a once great kingdom chosen to usher in a new era of peace. A marriage to bridge an alliance between 2 kingdoms and 2 species to prove that humans and Fae can live side by side peacefully. And I believe this is a forced marriage, but I think she can shift into a dragon. I'm not really sure where that comes into the story, but everything about this is very dragon-esque. And I remember seeing things about it on Bookstagram when the author was like promoting her book, and it sounded like something that was completely up my alley. I think the character also turns villainous because she has to. And there's a lot of morally gray stuff in this, which is why it called out to me. So I'm very curious about this. And I think book 2 is actually coming out soon at this point because I got this a couple of months ago and I really need to get to it. But this is kind of one of those indie books that I really wanted to give a shot. Another indie book we have, The Broken Elf King by Leah Stone. This is the Kings of Avalare series book 2. I got The Last Dragon King and haven't read it yet and just picked this up while I was making another Amazon order and needed something else for free shipping. So I grabbed this. I believe they're all standalone novels in the same universe, so you can read them kind of by themselves, but if you read them in order, it probably gives you more context. And this is about an elf king. Essentially, she's sold into slavery and then finds out that she's not entirely human and that the elf king is the one that bought her and she is to serve him. And she's like, well, this isn't that bad, until she is tasked with finding him a wife because they won't enter into a war with this horrible Nightfall queen until he has a wife. And she's like, well, this shouldn't be hard. But the closer they get, the more she realizes the power that is hidden inside of her. And then it may be the key to his problems. And so they do some sort of fake marriage. I don't know. I will read it eventually. This next one I've talked about in a previous video, but I never actually hauled it, and that is If We Were Villains by Megan McCullough. This is essentially kind of like Marvel mixed with other things. So the main character is a big fan of this like franchise, kind of like Marvel, but the secret the studio has is that all of the powers are real. None of it's fake, and it kind of gets leaked, and then she's kind of roped into working for this villain and spying on the government, and she's kind of trying to play a double agent, but maybe things get more morally gray and complicated as you go. I remember the author, again, promoting this on Bookstagram, and it sounded like something I would love because I love superhero stuff, and this just sounded morally gray and really cool and kind of villain gets the girl potentially. So, need to read this soon. This next one was actually a late Christmas present that my friend Christy got me because we exchanged presents after Christmas, and that is The Trickster Lover by Samantha McLeod. And this is, I guess, book 1 in the Loki series. It says the Loki series at the bottom. And I have never heard of this, never heard anyone talk about it, but she read it and liked it. And so I was like, fantastic, all about it. I love Loki, so that's really cool. And from what she told me about this and from what I remember, the main character is a university student and she's researching mythology, and then Loki ends up like being summoned by her, and then she kind of gets dragged into dangerous things. So yeah, it sounded, if she liked it, I'm sure I will. Excited to give it a shot. I talked about this book multiple times, so I barely need to mention it. But Queen of Legends by Frost K. This is book 2 in the Dragon Isle War series. I've talked about this one and the Dragon Isle War series multiple times, but I never officially hauled it, so there you go. This is saying on the back that it's going to be a trilogy, and that Throne of Serpents is the third one. Look at that. And then we have Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohanty. I heard Patrick on BookTube talking about this book, and it sounded absolutely amazing. And so it like stuck in my brain, and I tried to find it on Audible, but it's pretty new and wasn't available. So I just went ahead and bought a copy of it while I had the chance. I believe this is Indian inspired, and I don't remember everything about it now, but I just remember when he was talking about it, it sounded perfect. I'll just kind of read you a little bit about this. It says, some ballads are inked in blood. Essentially, the Empire is simmering on the brink of oblivion, and they're working really hard to protect their blood-soaked borders from annihilation, but they will soon discover that neither gold nor alliances last forever. But they're not the only players in the game. There's a pirate princess that's trying to mend her ways to be a good wife, but when one habitually uses murder to settle scores, that can be hard. Karna, the gifted son of a low-born charioteer, hopes to bury his brutal past, but finds that life is not as generous in offering second chances. There's a cripple hero turned torturer who struggles in a maze of daggers that is politics, leaving little time for him to plot the revenge he craves. And alongside a cast of sinister queens, naive kings, pious assassins, and predatory priests, these dubious heroes will converge where the Son of Darkness is prophesied to rise and break the world, even as forgotten gods prepare to play their hand. It's very vague, but I just remember him talking about it, and it just sounded so good, so I had to get this. And last but certainly not least, I got this, the Essential Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2. These are essentially bind-ups of years of comics probably, but lots and lots of comics, so that you can go through and you can read them in order, in chronological order. And I had Volume 1 for a long time, and I didn't know this, but I think they're not really printing these anymore, so you can only kind of get them secondhand. And I saw somebody selling Volume 2, so I went ahead and grabbed it, and hopefully we'll be able to slowly collect these over time, because I absolutely love Spider-Man. He's my favorite hero, and I love reading his comics, so I went ahead and grabbed this as well. So that is everything in today's book haul. Please comment down below any books you would like me to read ASAP, or your opinions on anything in this video. I just desperately needed to get this done to be able to organize things. So that's really it for today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.